Welcome, Cougs, to Pathway to Coug Day 3. I'm recovering from a little bit of a cold, so if my voice cuts in and out, I apologize. But again, I'm so excited that you're here, and let's get started. As always, we're going to do an acknowledgement of America's First Peoples. Washington State University's locations statewide are on the homelands of Native peoples who lived in this region from time immemorial. The university expresses its deepest respect for and gratitude towards these original and current caretakers of the region. W.C. Pullman is on the homelands of the Nez Perce tribe and the Palouse people and remains steadfast in its support of tribal sovereignty and the inclusion of Native voices in teaching, research, and programming. So if you haven't done so already, please make sure you fill out the Coug Day interest form. This is required so that way I can get a head count. I have to get a firm head count, and as well as making sure people complete their trainings to be able to come to Coug Day. So it's kind of two pieces. You have to do the training and you have to make sure you sign up if you want to come. Again, when is it going to be? January 25th and 26th. So it's a Sunday, Monday, and it's in Olympia, Washington. So please make sure you scan this QR code if you are interested in coming, so that way I can count you on my list. So you are here, Coug Day at the Capitol, Pathway Meeting number 3, Strategic Engagement and Capital Prep. You were halfway through the training series. Now again, there are 6 trainings. The first one is mandatory. The last one is mandatory. And then for your third option, you can choose training 2, 3, 4, or 5. You are more than welcome to watch or attend all 6 training series, but you're only required to go to 3 to be able to come to Coug Day in January. That is if you do your interest form. So remember, you have to do the trainings and you have to do the interest form. But again, we're here at the Strategic Engagement and Capital Prep. So we're just going to keep going down our yellow brick road and keep on learning. Strategic engagement isn't a skill. It's a mindset rooted in advocacy, empathy, and action. So it means you show up with a purpose. So how I designed the pathway to Coug Day and what was kind of in my thought process, and again, this is something that's completely new, is I wanted these trainings to build on top of each other. I wanted them to be able to say, hey, this is where I'm starting at a very green, unknown level. And then each pathway, as we take a step through our yellow brick road, we learn a little bit. And so at this point, we our last pathway to Coug Day, we learned what to do for advocacy and how to create those speeches and kind of talk about it. And so now that we've learned that, what are we doing with it? That's the purpose. So, we're understanding what policies are affecting our education, our communities, our careers, and speaking them with clarity, conviction, and obviously Cougar pride. Go Cougs. But today we're not just like students, we're the advocates, we're working. So again, as you kind of move through your pathway to Coug Day, I want you at this point to kind of think about, who are you going to be when you go to the Capitol? What are you doing there? What's going to happen? How are you going to use these skills that we've so far learned? Whatever we're discussing, if it's financial aid, mental health resources, workforce development, our goal is to connect the policy to the people. And for Cougs, we do it for integrity, collaboration, and commitment to the progress. But the whole point is making our voice count, right? That's what we're doing. So we are working together. We're working as individuals, but our voice has so much power. And that's what I ultimately want you to take away from the pathway to Coug Day, is that you are a student, you are a person, and you are so powerful, and you can do change. You can create change. You can be the ripple effect to create change. And that's what we're going to be doing at Coug Day at the Capitol. And so this whole part of strategic engagement and capital prep is just to prepare you for what do you do with the skills that you learned from Pathway to Coug Day 2. So now that we are in our training series and we've kind of moved along, you got to meet Adela last week. She is our Director of Finance. She'll be one of our Coug support people. And then I am Lexi, your doula. And now you're going to meet our director of outreach, Moana, and she will be lobbying. So her major is human development. She's a double minor, sociology and anthropology. Some of her favorite things are Beyonce, so that means she's part of the Beehive, amusement parks, wolves, road trips, and gardening. And she had grown a 30-pound watermelon in her backyard. So definitely going to pick her up some gardening tips. And then her favorite quote is by Nelson Mandela. I never lose, I either win or learn. And I just find that a beautiful quote and a great way to kind of look at every experience you have that, win or lose, you're going to walk away with knowledge. You're going to walk away with something. And then for this pathway to Coug Day, I was actually very fortunate to be able to work with WSU Everett. And so I thought, what a great way for me to do, since they're going to be lobbying at Coug Day at the Capitol, is bring a slide for them. So this is Rafia. She is a business administration major. Some of her favorite things are Red Bull, Kurami, and she is really great at photograph. I always see her with a camera. And then her favorite quote was, every setback, just prepare for the comeback. And I really felt like her quote was serendipitous to Moana's quote. And so, again, I'm super excited. I was actually able to go to WSU Everett and collaborate with them. They worked on some of the slides and kind of helped me take my ideas and put them onto paper. So it was super exciting to not do this entirely on my own and to have a little bit of a help. So now that we kind of did our fun introductions, talked about what strategic engagement is and capital prep, we're just going to jump right into it. So I'll try to make this section not too lengthy, but what to expect for scheduling and logistics. So I am someone that has travel anxiety because I don't know how to parallel park. So anytime I'm driving myself places, parking is always like the first thing I want to look at. So I wanted to create just a couple slides for you to kind of get an idea of what's going to happen at Coug Day at the Capitol in January. Now, I will create an itinerary for everyone in January, so you don't have to worry about saving this information. It's just more of a rough, kind of like a rough idea of what to expect. So on Sunday, we go to the Hilton Garden Inn in Olympia, and then we check in at 3 p.m. You just use your name. They'll have your ask for your driver's license, and then they may ask for your WSU badge. So if you have it, I definitely would bring it. If you are a global student and you don't know how to get a WSU badge, I'm happy to help walk you through it. Just ping me privately and I can definitely help you. But WSU will pay for the room, so that is not an expense that you have to worry about getting reimbursed or anything. WSU, the advisors, will take care of the room. But the hotel, as a hotel policy, will ask for a credit card upon checking in. If you don't, it's just for if you're going to buy pay-per-view. I think some of the hotels have laundry service with Hilton. And then if you buy anything in the little lobby store, they'll charge it to the room on the card on file. And so those things you are responsible for. WSU would not pay for anything of that nature. And so it's a hotel policy, since the room is in your name, that their card goes on file. So those purchases would go to you. If you have any other questions, I'm happy to answer those. But if you don't buy anything in the store or anything, you won't get charged, but they do have to have it just for that reason alone. And then where to go on Monday, we travel from the hotel to the Capitol. It's about a 10 to 15 minute drive, not very far. And then it's street parking. So we'll park on the street. We get there really early, so parallel parking was not an issue. And so we'll park on the street, and then we pay for it on the street. So it's about between $10 and $15, I believe. And so we pay for the street parking. You save your parking little ticket because that's what you'll use for your travel allowance to making sure WSU reimburses you for parking. And again, we'll go over that with an actual person from the WSU travel team in January. I'm not going to get into it, but just know you have to keep on any of your receipts to get reimbursed. But rough schedule. Again, I'll create an itinerary for you, but it just kind of talks about what to expect on Sunday. You check in, the trainings, you'll be able to network. We'll be providing dinner, and then we'll also kind of do a wrap up, and then we'll have breakfast snacks to grab. And then on Monday, the day starts early. So we meet in the hotel lobby, and then from there we depart from the hotel. I know last year some of us carpooled with other people. I drove myself. And then if you came with another school and you got on a bus, you can get on the bus. But we all kind of departed. I felt like we departed like campuses. Like Global took off first, and then Vancouver went, and then it kind of was like a domino effect. But we just traveled to Olympia. It doesn't take 30 minutes to get there. Again, it's like 10, 15 minutes to get there. And then we, once everybody kind of congregates, we go and we meet on the Capitol steps. That being said, it is cold. Remember, it's January. Please bring a coat. Last year, some people didn't have a coat, and it was very chilly. I want to say it was like 40 degrees. So gloves, coat, scarf. Again, we're going to have somebody that'll be able to watch that stuff while we're with the senators and the representatives. But I highly recommend making sure you have the appropriate winter attire. And then we'll do a guest speaking talk, like right there on the steps. We'll have a picture taken with everyone, and then we'll also get a group global picture. And then after that, we'll be dismissed, and you'll kind of break back into your groups, and then Coug Day starts. So before we move on to the next section, I do just want to point out when we leave the hotel on Monday morning, so at like 6:30 in the morning, we're not returning to the hotel. So in essence, we're checking out. So you make sure to pack your entire room, put all your suitcases, all your luggage in your car, in your bus, whatever vehicle that you took to get to the Hilton. Make sure that when we leave on Monday, you take it with you. Unfortunately, last year there was a global student who didn't realize that and left everything in their hotel room. And so luckily Hilton was able to collect everything, but just make sure that when we leave on Monday, we're not returning. So now let's move on to what to expect in the sense of dress code. So think dress the part. Style is a form of silent advocacy. Make it bold, make it intentional, make it you, feel comfortable, feel powerful in what you're wearing. Think business professional attire, dress to impress. Blazers, suits. If you want to, you can wear a tie, button-up shirts, dress pants, professional dress or skirt. Closed-toed shoes. Think of the season we're going to be in. It's going to be January. It's probably going to be cold. It's probably going to be raining. It could be snowy. You're walking from building to building. If you choose to wear heels, I highly recommend bringing a change of pair of flats, like bringing a change of shoes with you. Just because I couldn't imagine wearing heels and walking that much. I wore flats last year and my feet hurt. So, and clean and not wrinkly clothes. All the hotels typically have an iron and an ironing board, but I'll also have a little travel steamer. So if you do need help making sure your clothes look the part, I'm happy to help you. I'm even happy to help you if you have questions about, hey, do you think these two things go together? You can definitely reach out to me. So fashion is a nonverbal way of expressing yourself, but also communicating how you feel about what you're presenting. So we've talked about like the dress the part, business professional attire. Again, you're representing Washington State University. So clothes to avoid for Capitol engagement are anything casual, anything that looks like weekend or lounge attire. So no hoodies, no graphic tees, no ripped jeans shorts, no ball gowns, tuxedos, no crop tops, low-cut tops. If you have a really short skirt or something that looks like club wear, it's not going to be the place for it. Nothing with inappropriate slogans or logos, no political statements. Let your voice be the power. Don't wear it on you. Again, think professional attire. So again, if it looks unkept, if it looks wrinkly or has stains or holes, leave it at home. If you have questions about what to wear, I'm happy to help you too. But again, you don't have to go and spend a fortune to dress great. And again, we have a lot of time right now in November to prepare for what's going to happen in January. But some of my favorite blazers I found at thrift shops. You can definitely go and look at what you're wearing. I'm happy to help kind of saying, yes, that looks great. Or if you have questions like, hey, do you think this is professional enough? It's not about we're not going and asking you to dress like, the president of the United States, but I'm just making sure that you go and put thought into your presentation. And that's why it matters. Because remember, you're representing Washington State University with pride and professionalism. Dressing the part gives you credibility. It makes people want to listen to you because you are caring about what you look like and your words are going and matching that. It mirrors everything. When you look prepared, you sound prepared. Your message will ultimately have more weight. You'll be respected in the space. And then it also empowers you when you are put together. There have been so many studies about when people are able to dress appropriately and then going out and do a speech or a presentation, they will feel more powerful because they're put together versus if they just had like a bunch of unkept clothing. A lot of times their performance will suffer as well. That's even if you think of just the way actors and theater actors are. They'll definitely do their dress rehearsal. They'll do their rehearsals. But when they're going and performing their like dress rehearsal, they put on their outfits. They wear everything because they will perform better when they're in full costume. I'm not saying that this is a performance, but in essence, it kind of is. We're going and representing Washington State University. You're the voice of thousands of students. We're advocating for them. So that's why it matters. What you wear and the message you want to talk about and what you want to do, what you wear is just as important what's coming out of your mouth. So just remember, both of those things kind of mirror each other. So these next sections are going to be kind of a little bit of like a recap from what we talked about at Pathway to Coug Day 2. So know how to do your research for your agenda and your representatives. So know your legislators. So in our Teams chat, I shared a PDF of the 2025 document that we give to you the night before Coug Day. And it'll have your representatives that you're going to be meeting. It'll also have the initiatives. So look up the districts that your representatives in. Look at the committees. Look at the sponsored bills. You can go to leg.wa.gov. You can also just Google them. Typically, you can find their actual website. So their official website, you can find their social media. Look for statements, initiatives that they've been a part of, committees that they're a part of. Look for shared values, experiences. Are they a WSU alumni? Are they in the more rural area? Are they veterans? Is there a way for you to get your talking points across and where you can make that connection? Because again, you're wanting to make it memorable. Remember, we talked about the framework. So remember, tailor your talking points to each legislator. Adjust your message to support what they're interested in, to better support what you're advocating for. Because again, how you're going to present something to maybe a Republican is going to be slightly different to how you're going to represent it to a Democrat. So think about that. Know your agenda. Know the core problems that you're going to be working on. What's the proposed solution? Who it affects? Learn the opposing viewpoints. Make sure you're aware. Senators and representatives love statistics. So if you're able to find statistics, if it's already in the little cheat sheet that the DOLAs give you on the night before, try to memorize them. Even jot them down if you need note cards. Think of things that are going to help you. And what to expect when you're at the Capitol etiquette-wise. Be on time. Be ready. Be prepared. Greet everyone with a smile, firm handshake, and then make sure to say thank you, Senator Cantwell, for your time. Just make sure to be really formal in your communication and your delivery, and then speak clearly, confident, stay focused, avoid side conversations, distractions. You guys can have fun conversations and hang out when we're back in the lobby area, but when you're actually on the clock, in essence, for your time with the senators, take it really serious. Remember, this is a really, really cool experience, but it's also a privilege. You're representing Washington State University, and you are the voice of thousands of students. Technology use, make sure to silence your phone. Avoid using them in any meeting. It'll immediately look disrespectful if you pull out your cell phone when there's a representative sitting there. So I would never recommend that in any professional setting. That's here at Coug Day. That's at an interview. That's at a workplace. Avoid using your cell phone. It's frowned upon. Professional presence, make sure that your dress is professional everywhere you go. If you're wearing a tank top underneath your blazer and you take it off at lunch, making sure that you put your blazer back on before you meet the representative. We kind of already talked about like clothing, but just, even wear your Cougar Pride. Everyone's going to get a pen. You'll get a Washington State University, Coug Data Capital pen that you could put on your blazer. It's a nice little touch. It's also a souvenir from Coug Day. And then, this is just completely an extra touch, is send a thank you email to the people that you met. Reiterate the message of what you talked about, saying, thank you so much for talking to me about, initiative House Bill 1234. I hope you can support this. Be gracious. Thank them for their time. Remember, this is your time to make your mark, to make your moment memorable, but also for you to kind of explore the boundaries of professional practice. This is a really cool privilege that we're able to do with Washington State University to learn those things. And just with that too, when you go into don'ts, remember, we already talked about presentation, about what not to wear, but also don't dominate the conversation. We have a really limited time with these senators and representatives, and there will be like between 4 and 5 students in your group. So make sure you limit and focus on that. You're only going to hit that 2-3 minute mark. So that way you can share the time. Because again, everyone's going to want their voice to kind of be heard and they want to make their moment. But that's also just professionals in practice. Don't speak negative about other people or other institutions. Don't wing it. Practice, practice, practice. Technology, again, I highly recommend, do not check your phone in meetings. You cannot record conversations without permission. Don't forget to silence your notifications. And then your mindset. Remember, your voice matters. So if you start hearing that little voice of, I'm not supposed to be here, I'm not, good enough for this, I stutter when I talk. You are human, you're a student, you are learning, you are absolutely meant to be here. Don't panic if you forget a fact. Don't make up a fact just to kind of cover up, but pivot to your personal story. If you can't remember something, just pivot. Don't leave without saying thank you. And then pictures. No pictures in senators' offices and in the office areas. So you can do them outside their office or in the the lobbies, but you can't take any pictures whatsoever inside their office. And that's like with the senators, representatives, it's like a rule, like even if in DC, like that's a rule. You can't take any pictures or anything inside the offices. Any questions, you can definitely let me know. But just remember to practice, be punctual, be respectful of their time, of your other students' time. Introduce yourself clearly, confidently, listen, be active, be engaged. Avoid debates. Sometimes I have heard, sometimes the senators might say something, pivot. If it starts to feel uncomfortable, pivot. Focus on what the goal is. What is your goal of what you're trying to accomplish with your message? That's the best thing that you can do is just practice. And like we talked about at Pathway to Coug Day 2, stand in front of a mirror and kind of come up with a little bit of a spiel. What can you do to do that? So just role play your meeting. You can do this with a fellow student. You can do this with me. You can do this with yourself in the mirror. Practice is the key. Like we talked at Pathway to Coug Day 2, time your spiel, 2 to 3 minutes. Be prepared and ready to give constructive criticism if you end up role playing with another person. Prepare to discuss tougher issues, but just do your homework. Try to just take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. Remember what we learned at Pathway to Coug Day 2 to set up your little spiel. What's the problem? What's the impact? What's the solution? What's the call to action? Just remember what you're advocating. What are your talking points? What are your statistics? What is your personal story that you're bringing into that? Bring it back to the problem, the impact, the solution, the call to action, and then just have fun with it. Listen, be active, be engaged, know your key points, be authentic. You're going to do great. I'm so proud of you. Again, this is Pathway to Coug Day 3. If you've been here, you've already probably put in 90 minutes of training of what to do in January. And so you got this. Believe in yourself and all that you are. Know that there is something inside of you that's greater than any obstacle. And that's by Christian D. Larson. I know you can do this. I am so proud of you. Again, each time you come to one of these, you're taking a step and adding skills to your professional development, and it's going to prepare you for Coug Day at the Capitol. And I know you can do it. And now it's just like kind of believing in yourself, practicing yourself. And again, our next Pathway to Coug Day, we're going to just kind of build on what we've already learned. And so our next one is called Reflection, Impact, and Continued Advocacy. And we're really just going to try to hit all these points that we've already talked about, but it's just making sure that you're prepared. And how do you continue advocating outside of Coug Day? What to do afterwards? So that's what we'll talk about next time. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for making my experience as Director of Legislative Affairs fun and amazing. All of you are so engaging, and I've learned so much so far. If there's any feedback that you have or any questions, I'm here. Just know that I'm a student in your corner. So we may not be walking in the hallways together, but you can always ping me on Teams if you have questions. But I wish you the best this semester. I know we're coming up to our Thanksgiving break here soon. So if you have questions, just let me know. But stay safe, and I hope to see you at Pathway to Coug Day. What is it? Through 4.